Okay, I see the time now is 7 PM, and I'd like to call to order the regular town council meeting for Monday, April 13th, 2026. Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right, thank you. And the first item on the agenda is an executive session. The town council will enter executive session via section 55.071, consultation with our attorney. And we'll enter the executive session at 7:02. All right, so we will close the executive session at 7:13. And is there any action to be taken exiting the executive session?
No.
No action to be taken during that, so we'll move on. Next item is consideration of executive, where is it? Public input, excuse me, public input. These are items that are not on the agenda. Speakers have 3 minutes to speak. The first thing is public hearing. I have a thing for the ethics ordinance. Do you want to speak now, or do you want to speak after,
They
When
should
we're
speak when the item
when we do the
comes up.
ethics ordinance, okay? And public input, Sonia Dahl, do you have your subject?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you'll state your name and address.
My name is Sonia Dahl. I live at 1595 Abbott's Lane, and I'm here to talk to you tonight about trash. I am a regular walker and jogger, mostly along Orchid Hill, and I'm appalled by the amount of trash that I find on the sides of the street. And about once a month, give or take, I come out with trash bags, and I do half of Orchid Hill, and I get between 2 and 3 full bags of trash, and then on another day, I do the other half of Orchid Hill and get another 2 or 3 bags of trash. I think the trash is due to 2 things. Number one, people who are passing through who just jack it. I mean, it's alcoholic beverages, water bottles, Whataburger and McDonald's and all of that. And then it's also contractor trash. So as far as people traveling through, my suggestion would be to create a small sign, kind of like the signs that are currently on the speed limits that say speed limit strictly enforced. Do something small like that on existing signs that say littering prohibited or littering punishable by fine, something like that. So the cost would be minimal. I'm also finding that most of the trash is on Orchid Hill. Copper Canyon, not so much. Chin Chapel, not so much. Those are the 3 main arteries going in and out of our city. So really, it's just Orchid Hill, but you'd probably want to capture the other 2 streets as well. So the other kind of trash is contractor trash. And since we've moved here in 2019, there has been an explosion, obviously, in how our town is growing. And I know the current project on Orchid Hill, Copper Knoll, hasn't yet begun breaking ground on the building, but once it does, it's going to generate a ton of trash. And I'm going to walk up there and go, oh, I'm not happy. So my suggestion would be is to provide some kind of large receptacle or receptacles, depending upon how much building is going on, so that the contractors can dump it in there. Additionally, there should be something in the contract or communication that we are actively monitoring, the trash, and there's some kind of a consequence if there's trash. Because what happens if it's not collected in a receptacle, it ends up blowing out into the streets and into neighbors' yards, and that's no good. So just trash, it makes me unhappy when I walk or run. And we have such a beautiful area here, and I see with the contractor or with the building coming along, I see a big problem that's waiting to happen. So are there any questions?
All good points. We'll look at setting up some sort of receptacle thing, if we can, with the builder up there on Copper Knolls when they get started.
Yeah, as soon as we start issuing building permits, we'll require them to put bins out, large bins out in front of the home to collect all that trash.
Right.
Yeah, but if I can say something, part of the issue, we're seeing it in our subdivision.
Sure.
It's not actually the trash we're having, because it blows into our yard, and we have a house being built. It's not really what's happening on the house. It's all the stuff it's the water bottles that the workers are drinking.
Oh, yeah.
The Whataburger bags, the paper plates they're using, and then one swift wind, and it ends up in front of, we're picking it up every night when we walk. We're picking up trash
Sure.
out of our front yard. So I think there's a little bit of laziness perhaps on the part of the workers. Instead of walking to the bin,
Yeah.
they're just like, there they go, So,
We do have good communication with the developers and things like that. Troy does, has direct contact, and we'll bring this up to him, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else that hasn't signed up? Is there anybody else that hasn't signed up for public input here that wishes to speak? I see none, we'll move on. We'll go to staff, mayor, and council reports, items of community interest. Start off, I'd like to mention one thing, if you don't mind. We'd like to congratulate Ms. Paula Castillo. Her son had a baby boy a couple weeks ago, and good for her. That's her first grandchild, so good for you. You're welcome. What's his name? Rhett. Rhett. There you go. Next thing, let's go over to Troy.
So I'd like to introduce Yvonne Gonzalez with Place Strategies. He's got an update for us as far as where he's at with the process. And so we're going to turn it over to him. And we're also trying some new technology out tonight so that people at home can actually see the PowerPoint presentation. So we're going to test this out and see how it goes. And there we go.
And you say hopefully people at home will be able to see that too.
Yes. Yep,
So
that's exactly
those at
right.
home will find out later on.
Yep.
See if I can go back a slide. There we go. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Yvonne Gonzalez with Place Strategies, and have an ordinance review update, and then we also have an item on the agenda for consideration. And so I wanted to walk through, especially with members of the public, just kind of a brief overview of the project, and then where we're at tonight, and then what to expect next month. So with that, let me see if I can. So just a summary of the project as a whole. I know council is aware, but again, for the public, this is a comprehensive review of all 14 ordinances. And so the way that we've done this is we've split it into 2 phases. And so, there's the full review of the ordinances, and then the action item tonight is really errors, omissions, technical corrections. We're not changing any content, is the main idea of tonight's action. So we're just looking and seeing, and I'll go through some examples of the types of categories of items that are in the technical corrections. But we're looking for just errors, misspellings, sections of code that are more appropriate in other chapters. So kind of swapping those around, outdated or out of sync references, definitions, that type of item. And then we're going to have a full ordinance diagnostic and presentation where we are going to look over content. And so we've got that split up. We'll present that next month. We'll be ready to show that. But that's going to go over content such as, some of the building codes that you guys are already updating. I mean, that's great consideration. And so I'll have those items in there, but those are things you guys are already doing. But there's also items regarding administration. There's also items rather formatting, definitions that can be reworked or rewritten to make sure that they're more clear. User friendliness for a resident or a business owner or anyone that's trying to use this code other than a developer that's doing it full time to be able to understand these codes better. But even things that are mentioned every day like garbage, that's coming around, nuisances, things of that nature, things that make the code a little bit more user friendly. We'll look at that in the content and diagnostic that we look at next month. So for tonight, or timeline-wise, just another brief overview. We did our full ordinance review in December. We did a kickoff presentation, just understanding the scope in January. We finalized the technical corrections in February, but we had review by staff and also by legal. And so getting all those reviews into the corrections, and then this month or March, we went ahead and started the diagnostic direction. We asked Troy to give us some kind of institutional knowledge, kind of common things that you see in Copper Canyon, those types of items that we took into consideration into the diagnostic. And then this month, we'll have that full ordinance diagnostic to be able to review for staff. And then plus we'll have, the action item tonight as well.
And Yvonne, that also included feedback that you guys have been giving us over the last couple of months as well. So he's gotten all that information to go along with that.
Absolutely. So as far as the items for tonight, I want to kind of look at that process a little bit, especially for people in the public that are just getting introduced into this project. Like I mentioned, missing and incorrect references, identification of all code references, cross-referencing, accuracy and relevance, regulation conflicts, any review of ordinance that identifies conflicts in administration or anything that could cause a conflict, try to identify those, and then just practical administration mishaps. Try to look through all of those. Here's just a look at what that review looks like just on our end. So we highlight and just first we identify everything, and then we start cross-referencing, going back and forth. Where are these mentioned? How are they mentioned? How many chapters are these things mentioned in? Does one chapter say something different than the next? So kind of going back and forth between those. And so some of the categories that are in this edition, the Scrivener's errors, corrections, so I want to go through some of those. So outdated references and state law changes, that's one category that I have on here. So an example of that is correcting references to the Building and Procurement Commission, which has since been abolished at the state level, and that's something from Chapter 1. And so we just update that to what the new state reference is. Inconsistent formatting and misspellings, so just correcting missing numeric formatting when writing out regulations. There's a lot of new software that's kind of looking through these regulations, and having spelled out and numerical helps out in identifying these things and just future-proofing the ordinances, and so we want to make sure those are all in there. Incorrect chapter placement authority. This one's one where we just had sections that were more applicable in other chapters. So chapter 3 for building regulations had items and regulations pertaining to the subdivision code. And so the state law and chapters for local government code, how you vary something from the subdivision code is very different than what you would do in a building code. And so those state chapters are very different. So we want to try to keep the local regulations also separated out so that when you reference state law, that authority is connected when you're trying to vary or just trying to look at the authority behind it. And so that's chapter 3 is a good example. We pulled some things from chapter 3 into the subdivision ordinance, but we also pulled some stuff into the zoning ordinance, where again, the variance process is very different. And so administrative flexibility. So we noticed that council has already done some of these things, which is great, and then we just added a couple more. Just removing specific day constraints in the ordinance when you're calling to action town council, trying to do it more of a range. Open meeting law, state law has specific timelines for those things. Whether you have your meeting on a Monday or on a Tuesday or a Thursday, we want to just make sure that it's 72 hours, the agenda is posted 72 hours before. And so taken away just in case flexibility, future-proofing, if town council decides to now do it on Thursdays and have those meetings, it's already written into the code and you're just changing the date. So those are the 4 main categories. There's more categories than this, but these were the main ones. And Town Council should have received a link to be able to review those as well. We also had Town Legal. Thank you, Deborah, for reviewing the changes. We went ahead and modified some of the recommendations and technical corrections based on her expertise. So those are all integrated into the recommendation and the action tonight. The ordinance diagnostic, like I mentioned, should be ready by staff actually possibly this week to start reviewing at the staff level, and then definitely at soonest or at latest next month for Town Council to review at a formal session. With that, I can kick it back to the mayor for any questions that you guys might have.
Does anybody up here have any questions for him?
Did you want to address those links in the?
Yes, and so when we sent the link out, Yvonne and I talked about this today. So you had some color codes in there. You had a purple, sometimes things were highlighted in purple. Those were things that were being moved, as he mentioned, to other sections within other ordinances. You had some items that were scratched out in red. What should have happened is you should have been able to hover over that. So like in the chapter 14, I believe it is, under plating, it talked about commissions. Well, it was in red, but what was put back there was planning and zoning commission. So they kind of defined what should be there based on what the intent was. So all that's been taken care of. For some reason, when Yvonne sent me the actual PDF before it was put into the shared drive, it worked perfectly just like that. So as it was put into that shared drive and those links, we think it may have gotten converted into a different format. But they've gone through and looked at all that. So if y'all have any questions related to that, just let us know.
We figured that the issue was OneDrive and permissions on that. When it's sent directly through the Adobe PDF, then there's no permissions or anything, but you have to sign into a Microsoft account to see those comments. And
So that's one of my questions, is that as you were kind of going over to where those areas were, you no longer were able to see kind of what the smooth transition was, to be
Right.
able to kind of read and see what the transitions and what the changes were, to
Right.
be able to
sure,
be
Sus?
able to see what it was going to look like. And so that kind of made it a little bit more difficult to see what it was going to be. And so that made it kind of difficult to be able to translate, I guess,
Sure.
what the new thing was going to be. So as we're looking to approve this, it's a little bit harder to, I guess, marry together what we're approving. And that makes it feel like we're blindly approving something. Is that, that's the.
I'll mention this. The process we did, like Yvonne had said, he brings a tremendous amount of experience with us to fix our errors that we have, academic or errors inside our ordinances and things. And we ran them all by Deborah.
Well,
Go ahead, Deborah.
let me say, I'm just learning for the first time that council was not able to review the changes. And we had a specific conversation about this. I was shown a document where you could click the link and review the changes. And it's my recommendation that this be tabled for a month and that the document be resent in the next package with links so council can actually know what they're voting to approve.
Sure, that's no problem. We can do that. But the process, I want to make sure the process we understand here, this didn't change any policies or anything like that. So we'll table it and figure it out, how do we get down to making it so everybody can read it as they need to.
Totally agree. I think you need to know what you're approving before
Yeah.
you approve it.
Sure.
I do want to say that thank you for staying on a timeline. I remember when we interviewed a group to do this for us, this diagnostic, and there were a lot of promises made, and you have stuck to those. I mean, you have April, and here we are in April. So you've done a really good job of walking us through this, and I really appreciate it. And I think we made the right choice when we chose them.
Thank you.
Very good. When we go to the next step, which will actually be changing some ordinances, just a review for everybody, we've asked each one of the council members to have no more than 3 items that they would like to have changed or updated in the ordinances. that, of course, we'll be presenting to you if you haven't seen them already. And we also, everybody understand, we had a workshop meeting where we had, this room was full of people from all the committees that we had who made recommendations. We took those available too and went through those and gave them to Vaughn too. So that's the next step down the road, but we're not there yet. So is there a motion to table the?
Well, it's not,
We're just in
that item is
presentation,
not before us.
Okay, great.
just in presentation.
All right, good. When we get to it.
Any other questions on the update before?
Not for me, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a street assessment update. And what we do is we've contracted with a company to come out and assess our street conditions. And they have what I believe is a terrific program of being able to scan the streets, see their condition, predict them out. Our engineering team can use that to predict where we need to repair, how much money we need to budget for on those programs. And we're going to show you a demonstration of it here. I don't know how much we can show on the screen, but we're going to try to make it so you will see that it's quite a program.
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, I'm going to roll over the computer because this is an interactive software. What has happened is we hired a contractor here recently, and they came in with AI, and they drove down every street. They took pictures every 2 feet, I believe it was, to determine the condition of the roads. And I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what you're seeing is an overall map, and up at the top you see different years, and I'll kind of scroll through that so you kind of have a better understanding. And what it does, it's going to project, if we did nothing with the roads, then what's going to happen in 2029, what potentially will be the conditions of the road. So let me drive this over here real quick. So backing out, you have Copper Canyon Road over here, and then you have Chin Chapel and Orchid up here. And so if you look at what's in pink, which is your roads that are in poor condition, this would be a States Drive, and this over here is mobile. And so if you click on one of these dots, what they'll do is it brings up a photo. And so this is a great historical perspective on the condition of the road. And so we can sit here and you can see they're taking photos every few feet. And so this gives us a historical perspective, and it rates this particular section as poor. And so that's what all the colored dots mean. And so if I click on the green one, it means it's in a good condition. And so from that, let me get out of this, I can then sit here and say, well, if we don't do anything to our roads, this Orchid Hill or anything over the next, until 2029, then the condition of these roads will then get worse. So this is total failure. You saw some of these turn pink up in the woodlands as well. And so again, this just kind of gives us a good perspective if, as we progress through this, Chris and his team will meet, and we'll actually drive the road as well. Some of them just need minor crack sealing, and then like I said, Blackjack and a States Drive is in pretty poor condition. It's one of our poorest rated roads, and so we would say that we need to start planning on reconstructing some of those roads from a budget perspective. And so then the question becomes, do we cash fund those? Do we get some type of a bond or tax note to offset the cost of that? And so that's what we're getting in preparation to do this year, is we're going to have some of that information that says, if we want to do total reconstruction of Blackjack, for example, here's the total projected cost of that. And then we'll bring that back, and you will look at all the numbers and see if that's going to be a priority and what those will cost. But this gives us an ongoing snapshot over the next couple of years of potentially what these roads could look like if we do absolutely nothing.
Do we have some models that will estimate cost?
Chris's team, they work on that. They've had some models. Chris, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, pardon me. So that's exactly what we've done, is we've taken the worst 5 on this ranking and looked at a cost analysis to improve them, as well as the next 5 after the worst 5. So the worst 5, about half of that needs full reconstruct or an overlay at a minimum, and then you get into more of the crack filling and spot repair.
So can we weave that into our finance meeting that we have coming
Yes.
up? Okay.
That's why it's due this Thursday for them.
This will come into play, and I really appreciate this, and Trey and I have talked a lot about this. Very excited for this report. Jeff Dahl and Sheila, Troy, and I will be meeting next week for the next upcoming quarterly report to discuss, and this will come into play
Right.
as we discuss the upcoming budgetary meeting, and kind of really this is a major upgrade to how we spend the town's money and what we need to do as to how do we utilize reserves?
Right.
What do we do with
Right.
with what we have? Do we need to do cash fund, tax notes, bonds? And what is the necessitative, things as far as what does it look like? You saw the roads failing in 29. What's going to happen?
Yep.
So this is a major upgrade too. Instead of you guys having to go out and spend your time with a small staff, you cannot be driving the roads all the time. And this is just wonderful to see.
Yeah, and this helps us with the States Drive as well, even though it's kind of in that poor condition. We also know a major bridge, the bridge on Estates was under the getting engineered at this point, and at some point, in the future, the county, we're partnering with the county to replace that bridge. Well, we're not gonna go in and spend a whole bunch of money rehabbing this road or doing reconstructing the road if we know in a year or two that whole construction phase will be underway. And so we'll look at that as well and see the timing of all that.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah.
We're just going to shelf Estates Drive at
We
at
may
some
do some
point?
minor repairs on some areas that have just totally failed.
Okay.
But we'll put that kind of on hold until we get a good timeline from the county of when they think that construction would start.
Is that Pilot Lane also off Estates?
Yes.
Yes.
And can that one that could be separate from Estates? Or no?
We would have to partner that if we were gonna do that project, since it's so small, we maybe partner if we decide to pull the trigger on Blackjack because of the mobilization of everything, then they could just move their equipment and do those two
Okay.
shorter roads. So that's something we could definitely look at.
Okay.
And would be depend upon the delay factor for the bridge too, how that all works out with. Could you back out to, make it back the entire town and go to the 2029, I guess, the furthest out prediction?
That was a big one for me too, is kind of also looking at what construction is going on as well with the
Right.
projects that are upcoming and kind of working around those as well.
You see, most of the roads that the model predicts are bad condition, of course, are the asphalt roads. So, the cement roads are there, but cement, of course, Chris, correct me, are a lot more expensive to put in than recovering and fixing up the asphalt roads, so.
A question. I know, Chris, you mentioned we had like really 5 really bad ones. Then we have the next 5 ones that are bad but not quite so bad. Is there a way that the next tranche, the not quite so bad ones, that we can coordinate with the county so that the next time that they have a bond, we can attach ourselves to that bond so that we can help pay for this without having to take that money out of our own budget, but rather through a bond, which honestly will be rather negligible when it comes to the cost to the taxpayer.
Right. Yeah, we can certainly partner with the county on that and let them know. And we can look at, what roads will potentially need to be replaced in the next, 5+ years, and let the county know that and see if we can tag on to a bond package that they're trying to get pushed through. Yep.
That's quite a tool that we picked up,
Yeah.
and it's going to help us out a lot in predicting. But okay, anything else, Troy, on that issue? Okay, very good. Staff report. We'll go back to Troy when he gets back, and
All right, Mayor Council, just a couple things we highlighted. I also wanted to share a little bit about, as we have our new website going to be launched this week. So we've gotten feedback from the council. We've made some tweaks throughout the process. Our staff has been working hard to make sure all the links work and all those things. And so I wanted to pull up, let's see if I can pull up just the front page.
Hey Troy, I had talked to you about the street map and the zoning map, that right now it's a static PDF.
Right.
So has Civic Plus been able to figure out how they can do it to where, because honestly, a static
Yeah.
street map is useless if you can't actually see the street,
So
what the name is.
within the PDF file, you should be able to zoom in and out. We don't have maps currently that name every single street in Copper Canyon. It just highlights all the major streets. And so if you look at the map that's on there, I think if you pull it up. So you've got street maps, and then you can zoom in and out within the PDF.
But we don't have the Google Map capability, to zoom in on an address and look it around. I mean, that's another layer of dollar amount spent and stuff, and we have 17 streets in our town. So, you know, but we can look into that if you really
That's
want us to.
something we could add in the future, certainly.
Well, it's just, I remember asking that
Yep.
of Civic Plus and of Alec, and Civic Plus assured that on a phone, you would be able to zoom in and it would not be static. I get the PDF, but, you know, I know my old eyes.
Right.
On a phone, I won't be able to see that, and so, and especially, you know, as I mentioned, I've talked to friends of mine that are realtors, and they would find really, really useful having the ability to zoom in on zoning
Sure.
just on a phone or on a iPad as they're driving around, so, and,
Street map isn't the zoning map, correct?
no, but but I had asked about both, and they're both static now, they're PDFs, which is better than nothing, but they had both assured, Civic Plus had assured us that they could do it under the package that we were paying. Now it turns out that no, it's a PDF only, so.
We'll get a rediscussion with them about it.
Are we gonna include the zoning map?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on there.
it'll be on the website.
Okay.
It'll be
How about a
static.
link to Denton
Yeah, it's
CAD?
a
The zoning
Are we
map
allowed to
will
do
be
that?
static.
Yeah.
We are? Oh, good.
So there's a link.
There's no privacy concerns with that? Because I guess that's public information.
The zoning?
No, the Denton CAD, where you can
Oh,
zone
no.
in on somebody's property.
Yeah, and you can do it from your own computer.
Right.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to have a link on there.
it would be, yeah.
So here's all the links that we've partnered with other agencies. So you have all the governmental agencies, Denton County, the appraisal district, then you have educational links as well,
Okay,
and then
good.
surrounding municipalities. So, those are all the links that we have that will be on this new website as well.
We'll go through a continuous review, of course, and we'll
Yeah.
take a look and see what we can add and what we can't add to it. The important thing that I see here is it's a much better, easier thing to get access to for information. You're gonna be able to, people will be able to email directly to any one of the council members on their email there, which is a big thing. We don't have that currently on our website. And it's a big improvement. And it does match a lot of other people's things. And I want to reiterate what Troy said for people that might have missed it. If you're getting through pages on that website, but you want to get back to the homepage, go up to the Copper Canyon, Texas logo and click on that. That'll take you to the homepage to start off with. You can start all over again.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry. So the photos on the homepage will evolve, correct?
Correct.
That's,
Yep.
yeah, great.
And we're getting more photos as well. So as soon as people would submit more photos, we can update those, without a doubt. So,
Yes, hopefully by the 15th, we'll be able to hit the button and make this the
Yep.
active website for us. That's the hope.
correct.
Good job.
Just some other quick updates. I'm working with Councilmember Dahl on updating or creating an open space and parkland dedication ordinance. So we've been working on that over the last couple months, so we're kind of going to start working with Deborah on that as well. So we'll maybe get that to you guys as a draft, maybe in May, but, probably in June realistically. And still continue to work with the Corps on updating our lease for all the trails. That agreement is expiring in 2026, so we continue to work with those guys on that. The staff has completed our state-required cyber training, so we got all that knocked out this past month. And upcoming dates, we have P and Z meeting potentially scheduled for the 20th at 6 p.m. We have Shred Day on Saturday, the 25th, from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. as well. Development, we've got Twin Oaks. There were some glitches with the wording on their bonds, so they haven't really done a whole lot at that site, but they've got us the final copy that shows all the changes that we had requested on the bond that they're required to give us. So they'll probably start that this week. You'll see more activity over there on Hickory Hill related to Twin Oaks. Copper Knolls, they're making progress on their fence. I've been told that that fence will be done within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so what that means for us is we will then do a final walkthrough on final acceptance of public improvements, which includes the entryways, the gates, Fire Marshal Mon has been chatting with them about what they need to put on their gate as it relates to Knox boxes and codes and keys and all those things. So they're getting all that done. So we wouldn't approve that until that's completed. We have Awney Ranch, and that they're still putting in some infrastructure over there as it relates to power for lighting, for street lighting. And then Hacienda de la Sol, which is right here on the corner, used to be called Quarter Horse. We are still waiting comments back from their engineer, and if they get them back in time, we may can get them on the P&Z on the 20th. If not, then they'll be pushed to May, but we're still waiting for those comments. Police Department, the chief is at training this week, and do y'all have any questions related to that? Let me know, and I can convey those to him. And then, Chris, anything from engineering?
No, the big things are the payment that we've talked about, and then potential other maintenance items we want to be looking forward to doing.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
very good, thank you, Troy, appreciate it. Let's go with the police chief. Does the police have any report to make?
He's out of
He's out
training.
there?
Yeah, there.
I didn't know if you had
Yep.
anything. Okay, very good. And fire department, chief on.
Evening, Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me here. It's an exciting time for the ESD. Today we received all our modules for the station. If you don't know, we're building a station in Northlake. It's a very robust, engineered to be seismic, hurricane, and tornado proof. It is a very robust structure. But they've already installed 4 modules, and they'll do 4 more tomorrow. They'll take about 8 weeks after that to make the station operational. This is a 40, 50-year structure that is built to last. So it's pretty impressive to see, watching this huge crane with these, 100,000-pound, modules into place. But it's pretty impressive. So we're excited about that. Looking forward to. We already have the firefighters. We already have the apparatus. We just need a place to put them. And so we're excited to get that. So probably summertime, about June, we were expecting it to be operational. So excited about that. Also, you did probably receive our annual report, our 2025 annual report. We've sent that out. It's on social media. It's on our websites. It's just kind of a year in review, everything from our operations to our financials to our prevention, the fire marshal work and stuff. So it really just shows all the hard work and just a kind of captured everything that we've accomplished over the past year. We will be having our biannual Community Advisory Stakeholder Meeting on April 29th, and that'll be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's usually, we have about 2 dozen community stakeholders from around the community across our district, including the mayors and the town managers and the police chiefs, and so school districts. We have a lot of officials that come to that, and so we go over, just kind of give an update on things that are going on, including the annual report. So look forward to that. Also this month, we're going to be recognizing on Friday, April 24th, is National Take Back Day for unused medications. We do get a lot of calls from citizens who say, hey, I've had a mother or a father or just a loved one that passed away and have all these old medications. What do I do with that? So we participate. We have the sealed envelopes. It is anonymous. You come by. So on April 24th, and really you can come by any time, but we just recognize that day. And so we look forward to doing that. And then May, we've got a lot of activities too. So we have our signature event in May. That's our open house. We do an open house at our central station there off 407 and Gibbons Road. And we do a memorial walk. It's a 6-7 mile walk. All the firefighters, we wear our gear to do it. And so it's kind of a fun thing. And then we come back, it starts the station, and we go down and back. And then it's open house, there's vendors there. We have free hamburgers and hot dogs anybody wants to come. It's just one of those opportunities to get out and fellowship. The weather is usually pretty nice. Hopefully it won't rain, but look forward to that. And that's on May 23rd. That's on May 16th from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. The hamburgers and hot dogs start about 10 a.m. So first come, first serve until they run out, right? Then the last thing we do have a blood drive. We do twice a year. We do a blood drive in honor of Memorial Day. We do one that'll be on May 23rd from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Station 511 there at 407 and Givens Road. So I'll stop right there. If you take any questions.
Does the Memorial Walk, I thought I saw that we're starting different place this time, right?
Yeah, so we have always done it. We're sponsored, we kind of teamed up with Spirit of Hero, which is a nonprofit for veterans. And we've been doing the Carry the Load for the last 4 years and as part of their circuit. So they have the main one at River John Park, and then they had the circuit around the country, really. We've always participated in that. Well, this year, they're just doing the main one at River John Park. So we're just calling a memorial walk, and so we're doing it a little bit differently. And we're going to start at Station 511, go the back roads down to where Marty B's is. We usually have about the halfway part, and then we'll turn around and come back. So it is different this year. So it is a little bit different. But
So you
there's
didn't want to show up in the parking lot of Lantana?
at the church right there by Bartonville, behind Kroger. That's where
Yeah.
we've been doing it.
So the carry the load guys will not be there?
They may be there. We'll have,
Okay.
we'll people participate. We're just not sponsored and sanctioned by them. So we're basically doing it on our own this year. So they decided not to do their circuit thing. They're just doing their main one. So other than that,
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
thanks.
I do
Any
love that
questions?
report.
Oh, thank you.
I actually learned a lot by reading it, and the way it breaks down call types and.
Yes, it's really, and it's a way, obviously, for me personally, as a fire chief, I use it for data. You know, we make decisions off data and looking at trends and, projections and stuff like that. So it's good, but it's also a great way to be accountable and transparent, putting that publication out. I call it a little bit of a coloring book, 'cause it's got a lot of pictures in it. It's got, you want everybody to see all the pretty pictures and stuff, but it's got some good. We added some features. We work with Denton County GS, so our 65 square miles that we cover actually has a population of about 51,000 now. So we're growing. So we've got some good household, numbers and demographic data that we never had before. Been working closely with them last couple of years, and so added that feature as well, because it's kind of hard to get that when you kind of parts of different towns and county and stuff like that. So very excited about it. It's always got room for improvement. We're trying to make it better, but not put too much information in it. So
It's good.
thank you.
Thank you. That finish the staff report?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thanks, Troy. Move on to consent items then. These are consent items that are administrative. We all read that every week, every month. Consider a single motion. We are here to approve the March 9th, 2026 minutes of the council meeting, and approve the March 26th financials, and approve the sanitary sewer manhole repairs P1 with Inframark dated March 4th, 2026. And that's, was that the report that we did on the?
Yes, that was
manhole
part of the
source?
sewer report,
Yeah.
their recommendations on some maintenance that was
Yeah.
needed. And this is the first time we've done annual maintenance on that sewer system in Vickery since it was built. So this is part of that process.
Very good. So I need a motion to approve the consent items, 1,
Can I-
2, and 3.
Can I ask one question?
If you have any.
On
yes.
the budget status report, I just was noticing on March, there was a 2787 for election. It was 2,700 and change for an election. I mean, we didn't have an election. That's probably a miss.
What's the line number?
What's the line number?
110-54-14. It says election, and then if you go over to March, it says 27.
Yeah, we'll look into that. That's 2797.
2787, probably, I mean, we didn't have an election, so that's probably
Right.
just put it out of order or something. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll
Just-
take a look at that.
maybe just for future reference in case anybody saw it.
Yeah, could that have been paperwork for initial filings, additional stuff we had to do?
We'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Hey, since we're looking at this, just a general observation, I mean, we're halfway through the year, and we're right on target on revenue and expenses, so.
Right.
I think that just kind of points to the accuracy of the budgeting process, which is good, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions on the consent items? So, does anybody have a motion to approve these consent items, 1, 2, and 3?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Councilmember Hubbard. Could we have a second? Is there a second on that?
A second.
Second, Councilmember Dahl. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. That's approved unanimously for the consent items. Moving on to the items for consideration. These are discussion items. We'll have comments for each one now by 3 minutes. First discussion item is to discuss, consider taking action on ordinance 26006, repealing Chapter 3 building regulations, tree preservation requirements, and replacing it with a new Chapter 3 building requirements, Article 3.1, tree preservation requirements. Basically, there was some terminology there we needed to fix in the ordinance in consultation with our lawyer. Troy, do you have any basis on that?
Yes, sir, sure do, Mayor, thank you. So, as you guys recall, we were past the tree ordinance a couple months ago, and then as we were continuing to review it, there was some language in there that was referring to a development committee, a tree development committee, and so we just changed that to staff. There was also some under exemptions, there was some comments about the town council would approve any emergencies related to storm, weather, trees being down. And so we changed that to town staff as well, because if that's going on, we probably would not be able to have a meeting. And so it would be up to the staff to kind of handle that situation. And then there was just 1 or 2 changes related to the appeal process. Again, the words development committee were in there, and we really needed to go to the BOA and then how the state handles it. So Deborah helped us recreate that, and that was about it. There's no other content that was changed as far as tree sizes or anything like that.
Okay, very good. All of them match up and good items. Is there any, make a motion to approve the action for ordinance 26006? Item number 1. A motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the new Chapter 3 Building Regulation, Article 3.11, Tree Preservation Requirements.
Very good. Is there a second on that motion?
I second it.
Seconded. Motion by Councilmember Castillo, seconded by Councilmember Newton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. That's approved 4-0. And the next item on discussion is discuss, consider, take action 2607, Code of Ordinances, by adding new Article 1.07 Ethics, Section 1.07, 1.0707 to Chapter 1 General Provisions. Any discussion on that item at all?
I think that
We do. Oh, yeah, that's
made
right.
the discussion to table the item.
We have a public input on that ethics ordinance?
No, it's a thing.
Oh, we're on ethics now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mitch, you have a,
Oh, I was seeing that.
So Mayor, we want to do a quick overview, and then we'll let the public speak and relate it to that. So if you guys, you can stay up there, Mitch. If you guys recall, the ethics ordinance was pulled off out of the ordinance a couple of years ago. And so we received everybody's feedback as it relates to, we used that one as a basis, and then we had all the council give their feedback on this ordinance. And then Deborah and I kind of worked this, and the mayor, and so we kind of looked at everybody's feedback and then what would, stand up and court and those type things. And so we came up with this, I guess, revised version of the one that you guys initially looked at. So some of those changes were put in here, so if y'all have any questions, we'd be happy to answer that. But that's just a quick update.
Yeah, I hate to do this because I'm not a fan of this process, as you know, but I'm trying to play ball with the team here. But there were 7 questions that I had submitted back in February that have not been addressed. And if we're gonna discuss this now, I guess we have to. I'd like to go through the 7 questions. Otherwise, I can't vote on this.
Can we get Mitch's feedback first and then, or what? Public input? Or no?
Yes, I think we should do public input first with public input and then go from there. So, Mitch, if you'll give your come up, public address, 3 minutes and your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. So, good evening, everybody. I think most everybody here knows me, but for those who don't out here, my name is Mitch Dornick. I live at 980 Crepe Myrtle Lane. I also serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I want to start by saying that I support the purpose of this ordinance. I felt for a long time like we need an ethics ordinance. And I appreciate that it's been taken up. As part of my review, I tried to understand how this draft compares to what our other communities around us are doing. Double Oak appears to rely primarily on Texas Local Government Code Chapter 171, which is the state baseline. Without their own local ethics ordinance, Bartonville has one. I think it's a few pages long. But most of them, the point of most of them is they're fairly small, fairly concise. So in trying to understand this, what I wanted to do is prepare a side-by-side comparison of the state's Chapter 171. So I'll pass these around for you all. And it lays out side by side what is in this ordinance versus what the state says. What it shows is that the state's Chapter 171 is a really narrow statute. It primarily focuses on financial conflicts of interest. It has no gift rules, no conduct standards, no confidentiality provision, no complaint process, no local enforcement mechanism. This ordinance covers all that and more. This is a very broad ordinance. That said, I have concerns about several things that this draft doesn't include, which is kind of astonishing given how large this ordinance is compared to our neighbors. There's no advisory opinion process. Officers, including myself, as I said, I serve on Planning and Zoning, have no formal way to ask, is this permitted before we take action on something, right? There's no advisory for us to understand what is a conflict of interest, what would be considered an ethical violation. Cities like Dallas and Houston provide written guidance with safe harbor protection. It's a fairly effective violation prevention tool, but it's not in this. Second, there's no whistleblower protection. Officers or staff who report concerns in good faith have no explicit protection from retaliation under this ordinance. Third, 30-day complaint filing window is unusually short. Many conflicts only become apparent after a vote. Standard practice is 180 days from the date of discovery. Fourth, there are no due process provisions for an accused officer. No right to notice, no opportunity to respond before the council deliberates. Fifth, and importantly, the complaint process routes through the mayor and the town manager, who jointly decide whether any complaint ever reaches the council. But there's no alternative path, there's no timeline. And what if either of them happens to be the subject of a complaint, and they simply choose not to act and essentially desktop veto it? Lastly, there's no ethics training. There's nothing built into this to make sure that there's mandatory training so that anybody who's on any committee or on council understands how this works or what the obligations are, what the requirements are. So I want to be clear. Again, I support having something. I just don't support this document as it's been proposed. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any other discussion on this item? Any discussion on the council on this item?
I have to say, I agree with Mitch on a lot of the same points. I compared what the current ordinance that is set to vote on and what we had previously, and the reality is just 2 or 3 lines that have changed. It is almost identical. There's no, I understand that part of the process can be handled by the town, by the staff, but part of the issue is if it's not written into the ordinance, processes can be changed. If it is written into the ordinance, then to change the ordinance, it now comes before the entire town council and the entire town. And so that gives all of us a reason to take pause and to work and pass any changes in the ordinances that will actually benefit the community, not just benefit us. So I'm a lot concerned about this because I think it talks a lot about what you can do, but there's no mechanism for due process. There's no mechanism for whistleblower protection. There's actually no mechanism as to, how this gets adjudicated. Who does it sit in front of? We're all entitled to have a trial, and this does not have such a guarantee. So, I'm troubled by it.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else have any comment from the, Jeff, you got your items you wanted to?
Well, yeah, let me ask another question, though.
Sure.
Instead of us taking half an hour to go through my 7 questions that I submitted back in February, and, I mean, there's some things to consider here. Is there another way to tackle this where we can
Well, I
kind
recommend,
of make some sausage here and then bring back something that everybody's
I
comfortable
recommend
with?
we take this, as we discussed earlier, take it to a table for today and then move it to next month and go through, or even further down the road. It's not an item that needs to be done right now. We can put this on anytime. But I will say this, we put it forward to everybody on the council before and had them put inputs into the thing, and the idea was to try to get an ordinance that was already had been in our ordinances, an ethics ordinance that had already been approved by a previous town council, so we could actually have an ethics ordinance for us. Clearly, we need to do some more work on it, so we'll do that and things, and I think I'll take a motion, I guess, to put it on table it, and then move it to another month,
Till the next council meeting.
at least.
Is there a way we could do a workshop where we could all talk about it in a public, I guess that probably.
We can schedule that. We'll figure out how we want to do that.
I mean, that would be my preference,
Sure.
too.
So,
Just because I think this one's so sticky
Yeah.
that we need to kind of hear what everybody else is thinking so we
Yeah.
can get it right.
Especially
'Cause
since-
you had done some work
I
originally on
actually,
it.
I created a whole ordinance that's way longer than this. It includes a lot more, that includes a lot of this, that Mitch brought up. But if we're going to have a workshop, do we need to say that we're gonna table it until next month? Or can we leave it open-ended?
We'll just leave it open-ended. We're just going to table it until we decide we want to bring it back to the floor for a vote and stuff, once we
Because I
get all in
think-
agreement.
I'm sorry, I think that a lot of people are affected by that. In a small town of 1,700 people, and you get volunteers, and then you have, second-generation relatives, we can go on. But we have to be very careful that we still want everyone to volunteer and not be afraid of a punitive situation on a code of ethics. That's just my opinion.
If we're gonna table it, we need to table it to a time certain. So what I would suggest is another option would be to just take no action on it tonight. That's
Okay.
something else we could do. Okay?
Do I need to take a vote on that, to take no action, or can I just say take no
No,
action?
just say take no action.
Okay, we're going to take no action on item number 2, and the staff and I will go back and review it even to make some improvements on it. Let's go on to say item number 3, discuss and consider take action on ordinance number 26008, amending various ordinances, correct this typographs. This is from Yvonne's programming of going through all our ordinances and fixing all the typographical and scrivener errors for it that we had. Once again,
Yeah.
we're tabling this one too. So we're gonna table that. So do I take a vote on tabling?
Yeah, so we'll table this one till the next meeting.
We'll table this one to the next meeting also. Okay, and we'll get to everybody for the improvement on the ability to look at the
Vote on.
change. I'll take a motion to table this item number 3.
I make a motion that we table ordinance 26-008 until the next meeting.
Very good. Do I have a second on the tabling?
I'll second.
Second by, table by Councilmember Hubbard, and second by Councilmember Castillo. And all in favor of tabling this issue for future, next month?
Aye.
All against, say nay. And that's a 4-0 unanimous decision to table the item. Number 4, discuss and consider take action regarding proposal for AVG Guy, that's a company for upgrading the council chamber audio-visual systems, and authorize the town manager to execute the agreement. Troy, what background do we have on that?
Yeah, so as you guys know, we're upgrading the chambers and redoing the dais. So part of that was to look at microphone systems, speaker systems, so that when people look in from YouTube, they'll be able to hear everything. So we went out and got 2 proposals from both the Maverick and the AV guy, and we would recommend going with the AV guy based on cost and what he can do for us. I had an opportunity to go over to Bartonville, where he installed a new system over there. It's more digital related. The soundboard behind me is, when the new one comes, it'll be about the size of an iPad. And so it allows Sheila to actually be at her desk and adjust mics and do all the things from a digital perspective versus from an analog perspective. So that's what we're recommending for this contract.
Okay, is there any discussion from the audience on public input on this item? Hearing nothing, any discussion on the town council?
Much needed upgrade for you guys to make things so much better, and we appreciate it. It's gonna make it much easier for us and for people at home and also the people in the audience.
Yep.
We needed this.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
And just thank you to Troy for taking my phone calls today and answering questions to the different contracts.
Right.
And just wanted to put that out there, that he does take the time to answer technical questions
Yes.
about the use for, I just wanted the best for Sheila and for Troy and for everyone. And I do take the time to ask those questions.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, all in favor of accepting this proposal, say,
Make a motion.
make a motion.
I make a motion that we accept a proposal from the AV guy for upgrading our audiovisual system and authorize our town manager to execute this agreement and coordinate the installation.
Motion made for acceptance by Councilmember Castillo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Dahl. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. That's approved 4-0. Go to item number 5. Discuss, consider, take action on approving a 30-day notice of termination of IT services with Core Plus effective 13 April 2026, with a final service date of May 13, 2026, and authorize the town manager to execute all necessary documents.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this one's related to our IT services, our support services. So everything that's associated with emails, servers, this is who we use for support. If you guys recall, I believe it was last year, the company that we were using got bought out by Core Plus, and so we were going to give them a shot for about a year. And turns out their service is not very good. We called the 800 number, and we get a bunch of people in the room, hard to understand, that type of thing. Sometimes we have to leave our phone number to get a call back. So when we're having urgent issues with our servers, that becomes a challenge for us. So we've got, I've connected with some of the small towns around us and looked to see who they have, and so we're sending them proposals to do that. But part of our current agreement, we'd need to give them a 30-day notice, and we hope to bring a new proposal to you guys on the May meeting as well.
Well, so is this gonna create a problem if we end up with,
No.
they come in on May 13th, and there's no overlap?
So we'll look at that. I mean, we may not give them official notice until middle of this month, and so we want to make sure that there is some overlap as well.
And
So-
are there any financial penalties that we have to pay?
No, there's not.
Okay.
No, we just got to give them a 30-day notice. So we'll give them a 30-day notice this month. We've been talking to several different vendors and about our systems and whatnot, so I think it'll be a smooth transition.
We will have a backup. We won't leave ourselves high and dry.
Correct. That is correct.
All right.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve discussion action to take action on a 30-day notice for termination.
I make a motion that we approve a 30-day notice of termination of the IT services agreement with Core Plus effective April 13th, 2026. The final service date, I shouldn't say that. I'll let you
Right,
make
we'll determine that date.
the
Yeah.
the determination for the final service date and authorize the town manager to execute all necessary documents.
Motion made by Councilmember Newton. Do we have a second on that motion?
I second the motion.
Second made by Councilmember Hubbard. All in favor of approving that termination, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. That's approval 4-0. And that's the items for tonight. Discussion of future agenda items. Does any council member have an agenda item they wish to present forward for our future meetings? Very good. I do want to congratulate, I want to say Troy and Sheila both worked really hard on this new website. And I think everybody, I really love it. I think the town council loves it. And once again, it's not a stagnant operation. We're going to make improvements in it. We're going to make additions on it, subtractions, whatever we need to do there. And when you go through it, if you decide to go through it at home or whatever, you may find an error in it. Let us know what it is, and we'll fix it. We have the ability to get right in there and fix it. Typos, whatever else is going on. We try to catch them as many as we can. But those two over there worked really hard on this on their time off.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Councilmember Newton, seconded by Councilmember Dahl. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. And the meeting adjourned at 8:20.
You skipped half of it.
I don't know, okay, so bringing things in from, Dallas, Fort Worth, stuff like that.